You ever notice how each pastor has his own style? I'm going to use Pastor Gorlitz as an example. He is really good at giving us all of the history and the facts and the culture surrounding the lesson for the day, and it all makes sense for us, and he puts it into a historical perspective. I can't do that because I don't have that kind of knowledge. I, on the other hand, like to take an example from the 21st century and relate it to the gospel lesson. But today, I can't. I can't because no one is getting raised from the dead these days, and that's because Jesus isn't here in person to do it. No, today, my talk is going to revolve around the woman in the gospel reading. And because the gospel reading does not give us her name, for the sake of my homily, I'm going to call her Mom. Everybody here have a mom? All right, good. So you'll be able to relate to this. So, in Mom's day and age, she grows up, she gets married, and if she's lucky, she has at least one son. Why is this important? Because the men in that culture were the breadwinners. There was no such thing as a 401k, a Roth IRA, and no Social Security. So, Mom's life was perfect. She had a husband, she had a son, and she was going to live happily ever after. And then her fairy tale started to come apart. Although it's very sad, her husband passes away. Now again, this is sad, but it's not the worst thing that could happen to her. She still had her son. But now, all the responsibility fell onto his shoulders. He had to mend the fence, fix the barn door, fix the wheel on her cart, work in her yard, bring her eggs, and help her take the cover off the hot tub. No, hey, what? Oh, never mind, sorry, wrong son. Scratch that. Different son. You get my point. He had to take care of his mom as she got older. But in those days, if you didn't have a male heir, the women were thrown out on the street and they were forced to beg for food until they died. So you can imagine how Mom felt at her son's funeral. Just completely and utterly devastated. Everyone that was from the town knew what was going to happen. They were there as well, and they were as upset as she was. Jesus happened to be on the road that day, and he came across this funeral procession, and he had compassion on Mom. Because of his grace and his love, he went up to the open casket, told the son to rise, which he did, and he gave him back to his mother, back to Mom. Now, can you imagine how she went from being completely and utterly devastated to being deliriously happy in a matter of seconds? And everybody in town got it too. They were extremely happy for her as well. And because of that miracle, the reputation of Jesus spread like wildfire. Now, what you just heard me talk about was rewording the gospel lesson. Basically, I said everything the same thing, right? But here's the rest of the story. Why is that Bible lesson so important? Out of the countless miracles that Jesus performed, he only raised the dead 3 times. And this was the only time that he did it without someone asking him to do it. Now, why is that important for us today? Because if he did it for them, that's proof, that's an example that when we die, he will take us to live with him in heaven again forever and ever. Amen.